Hey, it's your Lifestylist K, and welcome back to another video. And today I want to talk about why we push good people away, overcoming self sabotage in love and life. Have you ever found yourself pushing away someone who treats you well or ruining a good thing before it even gets started? If so, you're not alone. You're not the only one. One thing about self sabotage you have to understand, it's not about not wanting a good thing, it's about deep subconscious fears running the show, running your life. So, in this video, we want to get to the root of it. Let's dive in.
Day in, day out, pleading strangers for help. Don't dwell upon this thought right now.
Like anything else, when we're trying to heal, we always want to know the what. What is self sabotage and why? Why do we do it? Those are the two main questions in anything that you're attempting to heal or overcome. What is self sabotage and why do we do it? And so, self sabotage is when we unconsciously ruin good things before they can even get started. And we do this for a number of reasons. And usually, those reasons stem from fear of the unknown. We have a deep rooted belief of unworthiness. A big one most people suffer from is fear of abandonment and having comfort in chaos. A lot of times, these things lead to us sabotaging good things before they can even grow. So, in reality, you're not afraid of love or success. What you fear is the fact that you can't control the outcome of it. And so, if you really truly realize or can really see that self sabotage happens when you can't control something. So, your need to control leads to self sabotage. That should be an aha moment. So, how do we fix this? How do we deal with this? How do we release that control, that fear of not knowing? Self awareness is how you begin to recognize how you're sabotaging something in your life or in love. It's the awareness of it that then allows us to stop it in its tracks. But how do we recognize it, right? What are those key factors that will allow us to recognize that? So, first, let's start with sabotaging in love or relationships, right? You over analyze everything that a person does to find something wrong, right? To find something to argue about, to find something to complain about. Or if you're not trying to argue, you're trying to find hidden motives, like what is their angle? Another way is that you pull away or you shut down when things are starting to feel good to you. Because the reality is that if you are comfortable in chaos, when things are starting to feel good or normal, you're like, oh, this isn't this isn't normal feeling for me. What's happening? So sometimes you can pull away or just completely shut down. What happens when you start to pull away or shut down? You can even test them by ghosting or stop responding to them, just completely ignore them to see if they leave or to see if they fight for you. And that's also a kind of a toxic trait because there's really no need for that. You're making things harder than they have to be. Another way in recognizing that you're sabotaging a possible love is being hyper independent. Listen, we're all adults. We all have responsibilities. We're all independent. We're all dependent on ourselves. But to be hyper independent to where you allow no one to help you or coexist with you, that can be an issue. Another way is that you choose people who treat you poorly over people who treat you well. I'm just going to let you think on that one because to think about that, you're probably thinking, I don't do that. But you more than likely, if you're saying you don't do that, you do. You choose people who don't treat you well. And the people who treat you well, you're probably like, but I don't really like them. I don't know what it is. They're not treating you poorly. That's exactly what it is. Because as soon as they start treating you poorly, you probably will fall in love with them. Now, as we move on to recognizing those signs, now we want to recognize signs that you're sabotaging in your growth. Sometimes we're not successful because of our own mind. Nothing outside of us is keeping us from growing. We're keeping ourselves from growing. We're sabotaging our own potential to be great. One way is that you procrastinate on things that you know that will move your life forward. I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm a procrastinator. But also, to be even more honest and transparent, I don't like it. I hate it. And so when I find myself procrastinating, I do it. I get up and I do it. I do the thing that I don't want to do. So I don't have motivation to do it. So I have to pull from my discipline. So procrastination is one of those things that will sabotage your growth, especially when it pertains to something that you know you need to do that will get you to the next level in order for you to have continued success. You settle for situations that are beneath your potential. You know you're great, but the fear of being great, you settle for less because you know that you can at least do that and it doesn't impede on your fear of doing things. That anxiety of being great is real. And that anxiety causes you to sabotage your ability to show up for yourself in miraculous ways. When in reality, you know that you're a you know that you will be great at whatever it is that you want to be great at. You know you will be great at it. But for some reason, you settle for less. You feel uncomfortable when things are peaceful and stable. When you are used to chaotic situations, whether in life or love, when things are stable and peaceful in your life, you're like, oh, what is this? You start to think that something is about to happen. Something is about to go wrong. So before something goes wrong, you sabotage it, right? And if you think back on situations, you can find your own example of how you've done that. Oh, it's too good to be true type of thing. I want you to understand something when it comes to things being too good to be true. If you shift your mindset that nothing is ever too good to be true for you, it might be too good to be true for others, but if you really think about it and shift your mindset and start telling yourself, nothing is too good to be true for me, then that's what it will be. And as you start to tell yourself that, you'll stop talking yourself out of success. Because that's another way we sabotage. We talk ourselves out of success. You feel like you're not ready when you've been preparing and you know your stuff, but there's still something within you that just feels like you're not ready. Or you tell yourself, no matter what, I'm going to fail anyway, so there's no reason. Well, you failed because you're telling yourself you failed. Stop prematurely giving yourself a way out to not succeed. Ask yourself this question next time you think that you are sabotaging love or life. Ask yourself, am I avoiding this because I don't want it? Or am I avoiding this because I'm scared? If you know that you want it and it's because you're scared, do it scared. Doing it scared allows you to walk the path of overcoming self sabotage. Other ways to overcome self sabotage is to rewire your mind about your worthiness as it pertains to how worthy you are of the thing. You're just as worthy as the next person. Or if you don't, or if you can't rewire your mind to think that way, just know that the next person isn't more worthy than you, or they're just as unworthy as you are, but they're still doing it. They're still getting the love that they desire. They're still living the life that they desire. Why? Because they're doing it scared. Self sabotage stems from a deep belief that you're not enough. The only reason other people are enough is because they believe that they are and they do it anyway. So you have to dig deep within that belief and rewire that thing because you are enough. But it's not enough for someone outside of you to tell you that you're enough. You have to believe it for yourself. And you have to consistently replace negative thoughts with positive ones on a regular basis. You have to rewire, retrain, unlearn, and relearn negative self talk with positive self talk. It works. You can't do it once or twice and think that, oh, it's not working. You have to stay on it. You have to be consistent. Tell yourself that you deserve love that's consistent and kind because you do. Or if you don't feel like you deserve it and you know that it's a desire, tell yourself, I desire a love that is consistent and kind. Because sometimes the wording is just too much for us to take in. So you desire, I desire a love that's consistent and kind. I allow myself to have good things, right? Because I know some people might say, well, say I have good things. Once again, that wording can be a little weird for some, but the fact that you allow yourself to have good things is probably more believable for you. So tell yourself on a regular basis, I allow myself to have good things. And also consistently remind yourself that you are safe in happiness and stability. Because a lot of us feel safe, even though we're not, in chaos. You have to shift your mind. So when you find that happiness or when you notice that stability, you remind yourself, listen, I'm safe here. It's okay. Another thing is to recognize when you're operating from fear and not truth. Fear is not real. So you need to recognize that fear feeling and start to tell yourself, hey, this is fear, but it's not my truth. And do it through the fear. So before you run away, lash out, or sabotage a situation, ask yourself, am I doing this out of fear or is this my intuition talking? Ask yourself, is this person a situation truly unsafe or am I just uncomfortable in this moment? Because it's okay to be uncomfortable. You can deal with being uncomfortable, but making it seem as if it's unsafe when it truly isn't, that's your mind telling you to sabotage the situation. So we have to sometimes stop, think, have a self talk, and regroup. One thing to understand is that everything unfamiliar is not unsafe, it's just new, it's just different, it's just something that you're not used to. So don't be so quick to run because something is unfamiliar to you. We have to learn to sit in discomfort as opposed to running from it. That's how you build up your confidence. When you can sit in discomfort instead of running from it, because it allows you, this is when you to analyze the situation, to think, not overthink, but to think and ask yourself the important questions. And as you grow and as you learn, you realize that healthy love and good success will challenge your growth. It will challenge you. And just because something is challenging does not make it bad. If you look at self sabotage as giving up prematurely, you'll allow yourself to sit in the discomfort of your fear and allow yourself to be supported and see how valued you are instead of just walking away. You have to know for yourself that what you bring to the table is enough and more than the value that probably most people will bring. Also, when it comes to love, sometimes when you're in a healthy situation, it can feel unnatural because you're not used to it. But just because it feels unnatural does not mean that it's wrong. And that is the part that you have to get out of your head. You deserve healthy love. And at the beginning, healthy love is probably going to seem unnatural. Your success is probably going to feel unnatural. But everyone has been at a place in their life where things have felt unnatural and they rolled with the punches. So roll with it. One thing I want you to understand is instead of just pushing away first, allow people to prove that they are safe over time. Give people a chance to show you who they are instead of you just assuming. Like instead of sabotaging, let relationships unfold naturally. Take your time. Don't rush. See what it's about. Allow the conversations to flow. Allow a person to show you who they are. Now, once they show you who they are, and you're like, oh, you ain't worth, then you have a reason. Or if they show you who they are and they're like, okay, this is not that bad. Now you also have a reason. You have a reason not to run. You have a reason to stay. You have a reason to continue to see it out. Now, rather than assuming the worst when it comes to situations, watch for consistent action, right? And that could go either way. Consistent actions that are proving them to be not worth your time, or consistent action that's showing you that, oh, they're worth the time and energy. They're worth my time and energy. One thing to remember in relationships and in success is that trust does not have to be given instantly. You should never trust someone instantly. Trust is built up over time. People show you that they're worth being trusted. You don't give them the trust because when you instantly give someone trust and then they break that trust, you're like, oh man, you're more disappointed. And a lot of times when you lead with, okay, I'm not going to instantly trust you, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to prove that you're safe, give you the opportunity to prove that you're worth trusting. Now, I want you to understand something is that your past does not define how you receive love or success. You're allowed to thrive at any moment in time. Life is this journey of showing up for yourself. It's this journey of proving to yourself that you're capable, nobody else. I know a lot of times we want to prove to everyone else how capable we are, but the reality is that the only person that you're consistently with until you leave here is you. So the proof of burden is to yourself. And so I want to continue this conversation down in the comments. Have you ever self-sabotaged in love, in life? How did you correct it? What did you do to notice that you were doing it? What happened? Give us a little bit of detail of how that looked for you. Just understand that we all have a story and we're all doing what we can do to elevate that story, especially if you're watching this video. You're learning to live life differently and you're worth that. You don't have to continue the way that you've continued. You're worth the shift, you're worth the change, you're worth receiving opportunities and giving opportunities. And I just hope that moving forward, you don't sabotage them before you have the opportunity to see them to fruition. I'll see you on the next video.